Serious, what is an aspect of life you've come to accept? I don't want much and I have come to accept my contentment. It used to bug me and I'd think I was weird for not wanting a house or cars and crap. I'm pretty boring but I'm happy. I long for a little dullness. That I don't really have career aspirations. I just want to enjoy life, have fun and spend time doing things I enjoy. Unfortunately I have to have a job for that. Thankfully I'm in an industry that pays well so I can enjoy my hobbies. I'm a work to live type person. I don't understand people whose job is their life. My parents are terrible parents and they don't know how to be parents, so I've just accepted the fact that in order to be sane I have to not interact with them. Much more peaceful this way but still hurts sometimes. This is what I did too. I think about them most every day but I am way better without them in my life. They gave me life but it's my choice what people are in my life and I choose to have people that are fun, inspiring, motivating, positive, and push me to be a better amazing person. My parents don't do that. Constant pain. A lot of healthy people assume that if they just do the right things and eat the right foods, they'll be fine. This is magical thinking. Your body will fail whenever it wants to, however it wants to. An autoimmune disorder, a genetic disease that took until your 30s to kick in, one bad car accident, and you're instantly in a tiny, restricted world where you have to make choices between bathing and eating today, all while experiencing non-stop, unremitting pain. If you complain, you'll be treated as a drug seeker, and you'll be denied benefits. If you don't, it's your own fault you aren't controlling your pain enough to work, and you'll be denied benefits. And healthy people will smugly suggest that you try a gluten-free diet or yoga as a solution for your body trying to destroy itself. Because if they have to admit their magic lifestyle charms are Dumbo's feather, they'll crumble. Yeah, this is probably it for me. My back pain started at age 13, chest pain started at 15, hip pain started last year, 21, plenty of other small stuff. I realize that pain is just a part of life, and that's what most people experience. Now, I just ignore it. Adults are just selfish kids with responsibilities. They don't know everything and they have less social skills than we thought when we were kids. This, which is something that goes largely ignored. Too many adults have such a high opinion of themselves but they are just what you said. Selfish kids with responsibilities. That my relationship of 15 years, married, one 5-year-old, a life, dreams, expectations, aspirations and friendship, is over. I am struggling to let go and move on. But hey, that's my opportunity as they say. Mine lasted 26 years. Gotta keep breathing and moving forward. I have an incurable illness, autoimmune, and for the rest of my life people will give unsolicited advice on how to fix it. Whether it's telling me to just have turmeric or telling me to try some random procedure their one med school friend mentioned. I will never escape people thinking they have the cure my doctor just never thought of. I'll be brushing off random advice from people with no knowledge or background on my condition until the day I die. I was going to say something similar to this. I have a chronic illness, neurological disorder, and the unsolicited advice is so annoying. Or the comparison to something they can relate to since they just cannot mentally fathom what it's like to be chronically ill. Being average. Some people spend their whole lives striving to do or be something remarkable. For me, something remarkable is getting to bed at a reasonable hour, or getting my cat to drink out his water bowl instead of literally anywhere else. When I was younger, I'd entertain ideas like being in a band, starting a company, or finding my soulmate in a manner befitting of a Sandra Bullock movie. The brutal truth of the matter, however, is that I'm not particularly hardworking, smart, or good looking. So now my aspirations for the future are pretty much making it to 40 with most of my hair color intact and having enough savings to go on a few vacations. Is it particularly glamorous? Number, but I'm happy enough and have learned to live with the fact that I am remarkably unremarkable. That I will never have a group of friends, or that I will never be part of one, no matter what country I am living in or what life circumstance I am in. Simply because I realized I feel better and get along rather with individuals or a maximum of 2 people at once. It's the quality, not quantity of friends, pal. That I will never truly connect with the people I love, no matter how hard I try. We are just made up of different experiences, motivations and mental illnesses. We come close sometimes, but it always feels like I'm speaking with a layer of glass between us. This is me with my lil cousin. I'm 10 years older. She's in her early teens and has some health problems. I always cheer her up, want to make her smile, spend time with her, but she is always so cold. IDK. There's nothing I can do about it and it breaks me. Meh. Everyone has their own story, their own struggles, and their own demons. They love and laugh just like you do, and may have experiences that you would have never guessed. Saw this years ago and it stuck with me. When you realize that adults are flawed, you've become an adolescent. When you learn to accept those flaws, you've become an adult. I will never have the adventure I crave. I don't have the money, time or ambition to get out there and see the wonders of the world, despite how desperately I dream of doing so. This realization hits you really hard. Accepting the fact that one wouldn't be able to achieve their life goal is sad as heck. That life is just a story. It doesn't always go the way the main character wants, but even so, there has to be an ending. A happy or a tragic one doesn't make a difference. That life is random, long, and full of choices. Something horrible is always around the corner and it can happen to you anytime for no reason. Appreciate every moment that you are not in complete physical or emotional pain, because there will be a time when you look back and wish you could go back. That a certain percent of the population will always try to screw everyone else over even if it doesn't benefit them at all. The fact that life ends at some point. Our time here is finite. Life sucks. It's hard. People you love will get sick. People you care about will die. People are selfish for the most part. People can talk about themselves, their history, wants, tragedies, desires, goals, and on for hours and get no more than the other person's name. Any story you share will be responded with something about themselves or their family. Conversation is always steered back onto them. It's difficult to have a philosophical conversation with 90% of the people because it's always repackaged as a conversation about them. Unless in a formal setting like job interview or presentation. Most social settings are people just exchange turns talking about themselves. I've learned many people's entire life story in an evening by just listening and nodding along, smiling at the right times and asking 2 maybe at most 3 follow-up questions, and you're their best friend. Why? Because you let them talk about themselves all night and they love that. They never got more than my first name as they never inquired past that. Recently I've been trying really hard to ask the other person questions about their life and genuinely mean it. I think it's a good indicator of what kind of a person someone is. You always hear about a date someone went on and how the other person just wouldn't stop talking about themselves. Haha. I kind of made this comment about myself in a way. That it's better to live life through a lens of minimums being met as opposed to working towards maximums being reached. Everyone wants to make 6-figure salaries or more. Probably won't happen. So what's your minimum? Define that. When it comes to happiness, I've noticed by those around me that everyone wants tremendous happiness as often as they can. But what are the bare essentials to keep you content? Identify that. Once minimums are determined and met, anything else is a luxury really. Is it ideal? Oh heck no. But it is enough. Now, this works for me. A single, 30-year-old male. May not work for everyone, but I feel the principle of the matter has far-reaching, positive outcomes if you change the focus of what it means to be happy. Too many idealists out there feeling sad because they can't even get halfway to happy, but may be surprised that they may have met their minimums long ago. Minimums being essential things for contentment and comfort. I knew I'd come across something as comforting and as real as your comment. As a 21-year-old I'm blessed to have came across your comment. That I simply don't have those loving parents that most other people have. My dad was physically abusive, so my mom left with me, and my mom is diagnosed with HPD. I had to grow up quite fast. I literally cannot change my brain chemistry and I will most likely be on medications for the rest of my life. What I'm still processing is that I don't know if I can ever feel happy to the fullest extent ever again. From where I am now, it feels like I'm just floundering. That I will never be 100% healthy and disciplined year round. I just try to manage my vices and take care of my body best I can on most days. That no matter how much we connect and bond with people, family, friends or lovers, the only permanent feature in your life is yourself. People come and go, so better treat yourself with love. That life is extremely unfair and the only things that seem to matter are who you know, and how much money you have. Being bald. I went bald at 20 and 4 years later I've accepted my shiny head. Once I stopped thinking what people's opinions of me were, it got pretty easy. Being bald doesn't make a man unattractive, but his self-consciousness about it can. That I have bad luck. I knew COVID would be hard, but I didn't imagine getting COVID twice and both me and my so having long COVID along with underlying chronic illnesses. I have had arthritis since 18 and my partner has EDS. We have been put through so much these last 18 months, and after 4 years of being together our lives have come to a halt due to COVID. We both want a life together, the basics of a home and a partnership. Now we are unsure how we can ever get there. It's not fair and I try to remain positive but my soul is so down about what's happened. We both lost a lot of years of our lives to illness, and finally we found each other and COVID has just ruined our lives. He is too unwell to work and I'm hanging on by a thread trying to work. We went from living together and him working and it feeling right, moving towards getting engaged, to him having to quit his job and move back home to his parents because he was so ill. We have lost most of our savings for our future trying to pay to survive during long COVID, as we both couldn't work at one point. Now my beautiful cat has died, who was the world to me. I also now need to leave my house as it's unsafe due to structural issues. Ideally we would just go traveling but we are too ill, or move in together somewhere else, but we cannot afford it. So now I have to go back to my parents. We have both suffered from childhood abuse and are stuck in environments that are so unhealthy for our mental health. Over our 4 years together we have had so many struggles and all we want is to have our sanctuary, work and be together. We have had to accept we shouldn't have kids. We have had to come to terms with a lot. Feels like life is against us. I've finally found my partner but we have the worst luck. I'm not writing feeling sorry for myself. So many have lost loved ones due to COVID. A lot of people like me have lost their health and work due to long COVID. All we want is to have a home that's a sanctuary for us and others who need support. All we want is to be well enough to work and contribute helping others. All we want is to be together and it's just slipping away due to COVID. I hope everything will turn out as you wished for you and your partner. I live in a poor and corrupted country. Whatever the frick I do it's nothing so I don't really have high hope for the future. Remote software engineering. I'm the youngest in my family. Everyone loved me. I was smart. All my teachers loved me. I had always been the center of attention. I got to be the one that makes decisions in a group of people. I was so important. Until I became an adult and realized I'm not and there really isn't anything special about me. I can't always be the one that everyone loves. It's something really simple, but sometimes I still see people getting frustrated over I'm not getting enough attention and respect from strangers. No matter how good of a person you are, no matter how good of intentions you have, no matter how much good you do for others, people are still nasty to you. Oftentimes the nicest people get the crappy end of the stick a lot. You can't control other people, no matter how hard you try. Worry solely about what you can control, and you'll be much happier. China has entered the chat. That I will never be happy to work. I only have one life and it is short and I want to spend it with those I love doing things I like. You can treat everybody around you with as much kindness, respect and compassion as you can muster but some people just won't repay you. I get crushes on people. I'd never do anything but I've learned to just enjoy the fantasy because in 3 weeks, they go away. Those 3 weeks can seem to last months sometimes, but I just remember it's not real and the fantasy will always be better than the reality. That I am probably not gonna have passion for my chosen profession or enjoy it ever. I just see it as a money-making scheme. I haven't started working yet, but I will soon. I just hope it doesn't consume my life. That my mental health is likely something I'll always struggle with to an extent. Some days, it all feels a bit hopeless, but you really appreciate the good stuff when it does happen. Plus, I'm way better at looking after myself than I was. Progress. The likelihood of me being very successful is limited by many things beyond my control, and in order to reach certain levels of success, it goes well beyond just hard work. The world isn't against me or for me, it's indifferent and barely acknowledges me unless I make it. Either way it's fine though, learn to live for you and not everything around you. That medicine is a business industry, and it's out to make money, not heal you. Doctors are as revered and well paid as they are, because they serve that business well, not because they're these altruistic, benevolent beings. A cured patient is a lost customer. Still working on completely accepting but failure. Some things I will succeed, others I will fail. In my mind that logically makes sense, but in reality it's very hard to accept not being good at everything. None of this was, or is going to be fair. You can play your cards entirely right down to the last hand and still get fricked. There is nothing out there going to save you or make you feel better about it. This is just life and this is how it is, and the faster you accept it, especially after dealing with a hard situation, the faster you can come to terms with reality. Case in point, we recently lost our 22-week preterm baby to a severe case of preeclampsia and HELLP syndrome. My wife is a nurse and was doing everything correctly. She took prenatals, doesn't drink or smoke, exercises. We have a loving relationship of 7+ years, etc. The baby and us have no genetic abnormalities. Now they are telling us because it was so severe and so early that we have a 50% likelihood of losing the pregnancy again before it's viable to survive even in the NICU. My wife is crushed. She blames herself, her body. I personally can't go through something like this again. It's like a piece of my heart is now permanently missing. So, now we have to consider surrogacy if we want a genetically related child or adoption. Our first glance at the price of a surrogacy almost made me pass out. But yet, this is life, and its unsubsidized challenges. How you handle them and overcome difficulty is how you are defined as a human being. And yeah, sometimes it's really freaking difficult. That nobody has it figured out. Jeff Bezos, centibillionaire, and many other ultra-rich people have the world at their fingertips. If I can go anywhere and buy anybody and anything, they couldn't. However, get a happy marriage and seem to be divorcing left and right. The stock market, long thought to be something only the most ruthless and calculating of stockbrokers and traders could penetrate, was thrown into chaos by teenagers on Reddit. Hedge funds literally busted because Redditors thought it would be funny one day. We can list hundreds of examples in real life to prove this. Jeff Bezos could handwave world hunger, the domestic American housing crisis, and provide clean drinking water to those in need and still have plenty of money left over coming in to fund his lavish lifestyle. But nah, let's go to space for the lols. I'm different and some people will think you're insane or a weirdo, so I gotta make sure to hold on to the people that know I'm a cool guy. I realize that math will always be challenging for me and that I wouldn't become an engineer. When I realized this, a lot of pressure was lifted off my shoulders. That, despite what I want to believe, we're living in the end times, might not be this exact generation, but we're probably witnessing the beginning of the end of the planet, and our species, at an accelerating pace, and our planetary governance is both too stupid and too greedy to care. Apocalyptic nuclear fallout? Maybe. Intolerably high temperatures? Probably. Mass extinction? Already in the works. World war? Creeping ever closer. The next pandemic? In the oven. We're in the end game, now. The 20th century was humanity's golden age. Whatever form human life takes in the next century, it won't look very similar. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.